Reporters Without Borders has called on International Criminal Court prosecutors to investigate the suspected deaths of 34 journalists in the war between Israel and Hamas. This in the latest example of the risks faced by journalists around the world, especially those reporting from an active war zone. As we speak, there are reporters being arrested, abducted, and detained against their will for their work as journalists, including Evan Gershkovich, a Wall Street Journal reporter who celebrated his 32nd birthday behind bars in a Russian prison 2 weeks ago, after being incarcerated for espionage back in March. November 2nd is the International Day to End Impunity for Crimes Against Journalists. And joining us now to discuss this ongoing issue is Heather Bakken, President at World Press Freedom Canada. Thank you for joining us today, Ms. Bakken.
My pleasure, Julie. Thank you for having me.
So impunity means to be exempt from punishment. How often do those who commit crimes against journalists end up not facing any consequences for their actions?
I think we have to parse this into Western democracies and the rest of the world. In the rest of the world, the numbers are probably too great for us to keep track of. In the Western world, or the countries where we do have contact with, we just can't pinpoint the numbers. There are people who are surveilled, there are people who are persecuted, there are people who are prosecuted, and there are people who disappear. So name your country and I can maybe narrow it down a little bit. But what I will say is on this day in particular, we have to understand that the better journalists are at their job, the higher risk that someone is going to attack them.
Now, aside from the examples we've listed before, what are some other crimes often committed against journalists around the globe?
Well, you brought up Evan Gershkovich. He was lured into a site for a story. Then he was accused of espionage. What we saw when Russia started its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, it tweaked its laws to basically say they could incarcerate any reporter or any journalist for using the word war. So what happened as a result of that is a lot of the journalists and independent news organizations had to move into exile, many of them in Eastern Europe or the Baltic states, where they continue to report on the war, but they are at risk of actually doing their job in their own country. And we know the consequences. You can end up in a gulag. It's not a nice place to be. We can give an example of Dmitry Muriev has decided to stay in Moscow, and he has to walk a very fine line. He has shut down his independent news organization in Russia. He was the co-laureate for the Nobel Peace Prize with Maria Ressa, who started Rappler in the Philippines. And under the previous president, they changed the law to make things retroactive so they could indict her. I believe there were 8 to 12 counts on that, with threat of putting her into jail just for reporting on the truth and a lot of the organized crime and what was going on in that country. The Philippines is considered more of an ally. So I would say that press freedom, what we have in Canada and our constitutional rights, press freedom protects everybody's freedom. And we have to remember that journalists, and like professional journalists, are the ones who are working day in and day out, putting their lives on the line, risking their reputations in many, many cases when there's conflict. And here at home, there have been instances where, especially with online hate, women in particular are targeted. And many of the threats against them actually turn into real life acts of violence. So there's a chilling effect on journalism here at home in Canada because of the online hate that's being spewed across the political spectrum.
So how does the situation between Israel and Hamas compare to other international conflicts when it comes to the risks that journalists are facing? Is it in any way a worse or better situation than the war in Ukraine, for example? We have about 50 seconds.
I would say that the risk it's inherent upon the news organization to protect their journalists. Foreign correspondents need particular training, war zone training, and they need not to be put into harm's way. You can't prevent in a war. Look, war is ugly. And if people are killed in the line of duty, that's different than being killed as journalists. So the journalists who are killed in the line of duty they have to be kept away from the harm. When they're targeted, that's another conversation.
Thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure, and I appreciate the time.